Hey everyone, hope you are well. Today we've got a very special guest, Corey Daigle. Um, Many people know Corey. Corey's been part of the Razor Ridge family for a long time now, produced some great numbers consistently. And it'd be, yeah, just be good to get a background of who you are and how long you've been in the industry, just so people can understand where you've come from and how you got to where you are currently.
Absolutely. Yeah. So my background is actually in truck sales, 18-wheeler sales. I did that for
Huh,
16
interesting.
years. Yep. But it also required me to have to stay in hotels every week. And I have two kids, and
Right.
I just had to be home more than I was. I was missing out on everything. I happened to see this
Hmm.
on Indeed and decided to give it a shot. And I wish I would have done this many, many years ago. Um, I started last
Wow. So
May.
you saw an Indeed ad. What? Oh, that's crazy. I didn't realize you were so young into the game. That's brilliant. So you started last May. You've just literally just a year and a bit and a half almost. And yeah, tell people about the numbers that you're getting. What side of AP are you closing on a monthly basis?
So for September, I was 33,000, I believe. And I finished August at 54,000.
What? August at 54. Wow. I
54,000.
think I missed
Yeah.
that one. That
Yeah.
is amazing. That is incredible. That is unreal. Let's dig into that because that's actually what two of your biggest months actually with the program, which is unreal. That is amazing. Let's talk about, so from your perspective, how has things changed for you in terms of the people that you're talking to? Like, what's been the difference between you going from where you were previously, which was around probably like the 10 to 15-ish mark, to now hitting, over 30 consistently?
It has to do with the leads. I don't get any leads that are, guaranteed issue leads anymore. They have cancer, all that stuff. That's kind of, cleared out. Typically, I'm getting fairly healthy people in their 50s, 40s, 50s, 60s, which is the prime age that I want to be doing business in because that's like the sweet spot
Yeah.
for me.
Yeah.
Um, and it's just makes it way easier. And lately, it's a lot of big cases where I'm not doing, 1,000 APV policies. I'm doing 5,000,
Mhm.
7,000, $12,000 policies. So I contribute to the leads.
That's Does that make you feel nervous though when you close a policy that large, and like, are you scared of the chargeback, or do you trust that the people that you're speaking to can afford the type of policies that you're arranging for them at that price point?
So I don't typically get overly nervous because we do talk a lot about budget when I'm talking to them. I want to know how covers they're looking for, and I want to know what they have in their mind that they're going to be paying for this or what they can afford. And then I go off of what their budget
Yeah.
is. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's amazing. Some people, you think $200 is a lot per month, and then last month I had a $12,000 sale, and she wanted to pay a little over 1,000 a month, and I was like, let's do it.
Wow. Okay. Whatever you want.
Yeah.
Love that. Oh, that is brilliant. So yeah, talk to me a bit about your process. So what is it that you're doing? Do you have a set script, or are you utilizing some verbiage that is helping you get people on the phone?
Yep. So actually, I would say around 80% of my business is all through text.
Interesting.
So when I get that new lead, the first two texts go out and I send my business card. And then I wait a few
Do
minutes.
you say anything on there, or is it just send business card?
I let it verify that this was your favorite hobby, that sort of thing. And then I
Yep.
kind of wait a few minutes. And then if they don't respond, then I
Okay. So you're waiting for a response to the text. You're waiting for, and if nothing happens, you call them. And are you calling them on a schedule?
first thing in the morning, and then I will call in the afternoon, and then I will call at night to make sure I, try to get a hold of people.
Perfect.
But
Interesting.
typically people will, they won't answer and then they'll respond right away to a text. So that's typically how I've been doing everything when I get their health information and everything. It's all by text until we get to the actual application.
What? Wow. So what you'll do is you'll text them to just engage, then you'll ask them the questions, the health questions to find out basically the information you need to get options for them. So within your texting, are you asking what type of coverage you're looking for, or you just so no phones at all? This is
Nobody wants to
interesting.
talk on the phone, so I just text.
Wow. Yeah, because usually, I mean, most people from my experience and people I've spoken to, they will do the initial texting and then after initial texting, they'll get on the phone to talk about their options. But this is pure text until I need to do the application. And then obviously you need to go on the phone to just do some of the legal stuff. How do you manage so many texts going out at once? Because you must be in so many chats at any one time. How does that work?
I do. I am. So when I typically try to close the lead the same day I'm getting it, if they are responding. Telling conversations throughout the week. I'm talking to them, today, trying to do the application.
So you're literally lead comes in, engage. If they speak, it aims to get them closed today. If not, I assume obviously you'll follow up, but less time following up, more time on the immediate new
Yes.
leads that are coming in. Wow, what a process! I love it. I think actually, if you think about, you're right. If you think about your time as well, if you're able to almost work with 10 people at once versus having 10 appointments, then you're saving yourself probably a ton of time. So like what time of days are you texting? Are you typically as soon as they come in, or are you leaving it for business hours and maybe taking the evenings off?
No, I don't have business hours. It's all
I
in.
mean, you're doing something that I don't think many people are doing. But what led you to go this route versus, I know a lot of people do the texting and then they called and stuff. What made you go down this route or did you just stumble upon it by accident?
No, I mean, so for the majority of the people that I speak with, everybody would prefer to talk by text. So after hearing that so
Hmm.
many times, I just was like, I'm just going to text people now. And then if they want to talk on the phone, I will give them that option and I'll gladly call. But for the most part, people don't want to stay on the phone. They rather just text from wherever they are. And it's the same thing with me. I can do this from wherever I am. Doesn't matter if I'm
Yeah.
on vacation or, one of my
Hmm.
kids' sports events. I can be texting the whole time I'm there and still working. So that way when I get home, I can do the application.
That's brilliant. And like you said at the start, it's all about, getting the time with your family and not missing on the things that you were missing out on before. So I could see how that works like really well with how you want to live your life, and it just fits seamlessly in. So I'm sure people are probably thinking, all right, so you're texting, how are you getting that rapport that many people talk about before you close the sale? Because I know a lot of agents, they like to have that personal touch when they're on the phone because it helps them to feel more real and they can talk about their problems and, be that, not that agony aunt, but, they can talk about things easier. Do you still do that via text as well?
Yes, I do it. And then while we are doing the application or at the beginning, when I first do the initial call to do the application, they can kind of see my personality and I'm not like a stringent, salesman. I'm pretty easygoing and like to laugh and stuff. So for the most part, people see that. And then, a lot of my clients, like I get text messages with them throughout the week and they're sending me jokes and all kinds of other stuff.
Brilliant. Another thing that we was discussing, the other call that I had more recently was how do you maintain one retention and what's your chargeback rates like? Because yeah, these, like you did say, you do stringent affordability before you go into anyone goes into a product, but you've been in the industry for over a year now, so I assume you've had some chargeback. So how do you manage that, and how do you kind of mentally prepare potentially for that happening in the future?
So I mean, the budget conversation is a real piece, and the reason I had started doing that was because I was getting chargebacks because I was
Hmm.
convincing people to get these big policies and they couldn't afford them. So they would, for a couple months, realize they can't afford it and just stop paying, and then I would get a chargeback. So I sit to the conversation so that I can have a, an honest, real conversation with them if they're looking for some outrageous number for $25 a month. I have to be honest up front and say, that's not going to happen, but this is what we can do for, that dollar amount that you're looking to spend.
Yeah,
So
perfect.
typically, I don't really get any chargebacks for people just not wanting a policy. It's sufficient funds is typically what happens if it does happen. Um, and
Yeah.
for some people, I'll rewrite a policy with a lower amount, or I'll work with them to see what they can afford and we'll kind of either try to fix that policy or just redo a policy with smaller coverage amount.
So you still go back and say, look, we can get you something that's probably more in your range.
Yes.
That's interesting because I guess, yeah, affordability, they'll probably say initially, yeah, I can afford that. Life happens, as we know. And then
Hmm.
you'll still come back and say, well, we still want to give you some coverage. So let's see what at this current level, if there's something that can work, and you still end up recovering some of that chargeback
Okay.
with additional. So yeah, okay, that makes perfect sense. And that's quite a good way to still maintain the relationship as well, because it
Yes.
shows that you're caring about them and still trying to get them into something. So how's that worked out for referrals for you? I can imagine, given your style, you're probably getting quite a lot of
Yep.
referred business as well.
Yep. Typically, well, so yeah, typically to make the most out of each lead as well, I ask about their family members as well if they have insurance.
Hmm.
So a
Yeah,
lot of times I'll be writing 4 or 5 policies for one lead because
that's
they
amazing.
are going to
That's
get
so
their
efficient.
kids, send their kids to me or send their uncle or their mother or whoever. And a lot of times people have in their head that, okay, my mother has diabetes, she can't get life insurance. So
Mm,
I can absolutely get you some kind of coverage. Coverage,
yep,
some coverage is better than no coverage. So let me see
correct.
what I can find for, your mother or your father or whoever. And we'll go from there.
Yeah, so really you're you're multiplying your lead into potentially 3 or 4 additional avenues. And I think, to be fair, that's probably something that many agents, at least from the conversations I've had, it doesn't sound like that's something that they're upfront trying to do, where it's like hey, by the way, I can help I can help any family members. And actually, I think given every lead is valuable, but if you're able to make that lead, that earning per lead, which the EPL, which is the number that's really important, higher, then that means you're just becoming more efficient as a business, which means you can potentially have a week where you have low contact or whatever, but still earn quite significant amount from a lead. So talking about contact rate. So obviously contact rate is like it's the lifeblood of the business. There's no point having loads of leads coming in if you can't speak to any of them. So you're using a strategy that I don't think many people are doing. Would you know what your contact rate looks like in terms as a percentage, or what does it feel like it is? Are you speaking to a lot of people, not many people?
Um, it it varies week to week. There's some weeks that I talk to almost every lead that comes in, and then there's some weeks I can't get a hold of anyone. Um, but I will call them and text them until they answer the phone. So yeah, weird as thought.
I love that. I love that. So we did touch upon it earlier, but I think we should go back to like the lead side of things. So you mentioned that you're getting leads that are more qualified in some respects. So what is it that Razor Ridge has done for you in terms of the qualifications? Like what have you noticed that has made the leads better?
Additional questions is huge. The employment one. I used to get a ton of leads that would come in and they didn't have a job, but they wanted life
Hmm.
insurance that they couldn't pay for it. And I'm like, okay, well, I can't really do it. It's for at least now I can see, and then pre-existing health conditions, like that's one of the first things I look at when a new lead comes in. So I
Hmm.
think those two things kind of, you know, filtered out the ones that I was getting before that I couldn't really do anything with, especially if they weren't of age to do a guaranteed issue policy. I really could only do accidental death, and that's not what they want for the most part.
Yeah, exactly.
Typically deal with any kind of guaranteed issue very much anymore at all. So
Hmm.
that's
So what type of policies are you selling? Is it more IOL style or whole life?
I would say 95% of what I do is IULs.
Brilliant. So good. So that really shows that you're getting a good caliber of person coming through consistently for you to be writing 95% IULs. That's amazing. And especially when the ads are just general life, it's not even saying any of the cool stuff that IULs do. Another thing. So how do you go about that on texting? Do you say this is the product I'm pitching, this is the benefits, or do you wait to the app?
I then ask them, talk about budget, and I ask them, are you looking for something that's a permanent solution, or are you looking for kind of just getting the most coverage for the least amount of money right now?
Uh-huh.
Term policy.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
for the most part, people always, maybe once in a while, someone will say term, but for the most part, people want permanent coverage, and then they see some, cash back option they saw in a commercial, and I'm like, this does that as well. And yeah, I even use IULs for people looking for whole life policies that are a little bit older. I'll put them
Hmm.
if their focus is not so much on cash, but just want something permanent with a lower payment. I'll put them in an
Yeah.
IUL.
Yeah. That makes sense. So what type of lead volume are you needing or requiring to sustain your business at where it is right now? Like what do you consider sufficient volume, or do you not consider a number for volume?
Typically, my goal is to do 10K a week. So if I, you know, around that goal, then I'm happy. And then if I don't get to that goal, well, I'm not happy. But the
Yeah.
you know, I spend I think around $1,100 a week right now on leads, and
Yep.
that's typically
Okay.
giving
Yep.
me around my 8 to 12,000 a week.
Wow. So that is that's at least 5x return on investment every single week. Wow, that's amazing. I mean, 54 last month, you 10x your investment. Wow, that is incredible. That is unreal. And so with that 1100, you're getting anywhere from what, 30 to 50 leads a
Yep.
week? Perfect. And that's how you're able to keep the pipeline full, keep your consistency, speak to enough people. And, this is becoming a common theme with the people that I'm speaking to, where it's all about keeping that pipeline full, making sure that you've got enough leads coming through to sustain you for whatever your goal is. And like you said, you already know the leads are good quality. So you're not worried about that anymore. It's just about how many people you can talk to on any given day or any given week, right?
Yes.
I was about to ask, I assume to recover some people, you just funnel people into Charles and he gets the conversation going
Yes.
again.
So I will work the lead typically for around a week. And then if I
Mm-hmm.
can't get any kind of resolution, I move them over to Charles. I will continue to call and try to get a hold of them, but I'm going to let Charles text from that point forward because I focus on the newer leads that are coming in. I can't just keep on focusing on those, week, 2 week old
Mm-hmm.
leads. And
Yep.
then Charles will get them to re-engage. I don't know what percentage I get re-engagement with, but maybe 30%. And then
Mm-hmm.
I'll move them back over so that I can stop Charles from talking and I'll take over the conversation and try to set up an appointment to.
Perfect. So you don't let Charles do the appointment stuff. As soon as you get a response, you're like, right, take it over. I trust myself. That's fair. Like you said, you've got a very unique style. So I imagine you're very conversational, very funny, I assume, when you're texting. And so that helps to engage people more than the maybe more serious text, I guess,
Uh-huh.
that
Yeah.
people probably get. And it makes it more of a friend style. Um, yeah. So you may not have an answer for this, but is there like a typical text that maybe you can talk about on here that you like to send that helps to engage people, or is it more just whatever comes in, you're thinking on the spot on how to respond to it?
Yeah, I'm very much on the fly kind of guy.
Hmm.
My texts all, I mean, for the most part, are all the same. So those first two texts go out, then I send my business card, and then I'll ask about, let's say I show you that you're 56 years old. Can I have your date of birth, please? And then medical issues, what meds they take, and then kind of while I'm asking those questions, I'll kind of you know show that I'm not some pushy salesman. I'm a normal person just like them, to get them more
Yep.
comfortable with me, and then kind of talk about why are they looking for this coverage? Like, who are they looking to protect? What are they looking to
Hmm.
do with it? And then just try to tailor my solution to what they're looking for to the best that I can, depending on their budget. And
Perfect.
not a
Perfect.
special text or anything, unfortunately.
No, 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 no. You've just got a very unique style. I love it. I really love it. It's good to see someone doing something very tailored to how you want to live your life. I think it works very well with how you wanted to approach the business. You've only been in a year. You clearly, obviously, you've been in sales for a long time, so that's probably helped you
Yes.
in terms of just getting through the initial phases. So, what's your plans for the future? What do you see yourself doing within the life insurance industry before we wrap up?
Yeah. So I have one more month, this month to go before I become agency owner. So that was my first. From there, just try to keep on getting every promotion. Try to get help my team get promotions. Obviously, the better they do, the better I do as well. So
Yep.
focus a lot of time on that. Um, and then just hopefully, I get to maybe text a little less at some point and golf a little more. I don't know. We'll see when that day is. But
I love that. And do you have any advice for people who are just starting out or who are watching this video wanting to emulate some of the success, even if it's not all, some of the success you've had within the industry so far?
I would just say don't give up when people don't respond. Because I get people that respond to a random text, and I got that lead a month ago, and they never responded. And then all of a sudden, I don't know if they just check their phone or what's going on, but then they respond. So don't give up on leads. I very rarely put it to, lost sale, unless I lost the sale, but I'm going to do
Yeah.
30, 60, 90-day engagement. I'm going to do Charles. I'm going to do whatever it takes to kind of get some kind of conversation going from that person. It doesn't
Perfect.
matter how old the lead is. So,
Hmm.
don't give up on your leads. Keep engagement up. Use the tools that are in this CRM to kind of keep that going. Because people people have different lives going on, so they might not check their cell phone for a month, and then all of a sudden they check it and they respond. And all right, let's keep on moving
Yep.
forward then. So it's
Sounds like me, to be honest. No, but this has been a great call. Love to hear about your success within the industry. Obviously, love hearing about the way you're approaching your communication because I think it's definitely quite a unique way of doing it, and it's clearly working for you. So I'm sure there's many people watching this right now who may take a lot of that on board and try and focus on how do you actually get to the pretty much the sale by text, because that in itself is a great skill to have. And like you say, it saves you a lot of time on the phone and means you could just do it anywhere. Thank you for your time, Corey.
for having me.
I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you all on the next episode.
Thank you.